have a clicker here.
Hey, can I get everyone's attention, please? So we're going to ask everyone to turn their attention back to the front. And for some reason, I thought this this slot went a little bit later than 3, but I realized that the time actually is over at 3. And so I would love to hear some groups that feel like they got a little bit further on coming up with an idea for their data storytelling types of activities. So for the groups in the back, it would be great if you could turn your attention. And can I get a volunteer to present? And we have a microphone for whoever wants to present. You want to present?
I turned it on.
Can I ask you to come to the front?
Okay, hello, how are you, everyone? We were just briefly strategizing, and I was talking to, can you just say your name and your company? I'm going to just,
I am Annalita, the Executive Director of Global Bioethics Initiative.
and her company has been in for 4 years, and your website, your company website is, and your company website? .org. Okay, great. Well, she's 4 years. I think she can actually give you more of a background about her company. But we just briefly was talking about the company website. Having your own company website, if you want someone to invest, she's looking for funders for her organization because of the mission that she's actually, going to have. I think that if you want funders, they want to see that the fact that you want to invest in yourself. Having a company website, having video testimonies is one thing that we had discussed. Having case studies, having event page, having an event page about the things that are upcoming, having a crowdfunder event on your social media website will be excellent too. And actually having a graph about what your goal is. Your goal may be $25,000 by 2016, and having a, you know, thermometer, a gas, or a guy showing that and showing people that, having people having testimonies and having them in interactive events to show them the things that you're doing. And I think that the more interactive it is, people will be willing to want to invest in your company. So, yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Can I get another group to come up and, yeah, a round of applause. Thank you so much for volunteering. Anyone else want to share their idea? I saw some good notes on some. Shall I pick on groups? How about this group over here? Saw some nods. And as you, as you're listening too, I know that this was probably a challenging activity. And one thing that I didn't state too before is that, oh, here, well, you want to come up to the front? Okay.
Is the map up? Long Island. Excellent. So we were kind of in the map mode, working with the Metropolitan Youth Orchestra of New York. And we were trying to decide what we wanted to, what story we wanted to tell. And two things we thought of were how we're making an impact on Long Island and where we could build our program. So some of the data points we were thinking of, and we only got as far as drawing all of Long Island, were the number of schools that currently have music programs. We thought that would be an interesting place to start. Overlay where we already are working with those schools, and then we'd see the schools that were missing us, so we'd know where we could grow. We wanted to see if we could somehow map the rate of erosion of music programs as public schools are closing those programs, and that would give a bigger story on how we need to be funded to help supplement that or complement that or work with that. We wanted to perhaps put a layer in of economic and racial distributions throughout Long Island to show that we are having impact in all communities, or maybe we're not, we don't know. And the other thing was perhaps we could show an impact and map graduates from our program and those who have pursued careers in the music and see if we've made an impact on their lives.
I was just saying, I liked how she really kind of elevated what story each of the data points could tell. So I thought that was really excellent. Okay, can we get one more group? One more group that wants to? Excellent, back here.
Thank you. I'm the founder and president of the Societ Solution. Our office is based here in New York. Our organization, we are trying to establish community public libraries in Nigeria, starting from Lagos State. In Lagos State, we have over 20 million people with only 10 underfunded public libraries. So our strategic plan is to start creating public libraries starting from Lagos State in every local government. Please excuse my speech. Last week I had stroke. I was admitted in the hospital, so my speech is a bit slow. You need to listen attentively for you to hear me. I was discharged last night from the hospital. I don't want you to pity me. I'm just saying why some of you may not hear me clearly, but I need to articulate our mission. Because when I asked them who is presenting, they were all looking, I'm not ready. So what are we doing here? If you are not, none of you is ready to present. I'm not just going to sit here and we are not presenting anything, no. That's why. Thank you. She spoke about the artist art program, that she's only individual, that she's trying to see how she can bring up data about artists. Thank you. So what she was really saying wasn't really clear to me. And she was laughing.
Okay, so it might have been a little bit challenging for some of the groups. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Because we're so close to the end of time, I'm going to conclude by providing a couple final last kind of tips that we've kept in mind as we've developed our projects here that maybe you can also borrow. So essentially, you want to start with the result. So think about, kind of what is the story that you're going to tell. What do you want the result of your storytelling to be? As this group was saying, they want to maybe look at funding for how schools are losing music programs. So to show that data would be really important. So that was great in terms of thinking of the result first. And then also think about, what's an irresistible story? What kind of has a hook? What kind of has a natural catch and interest for the population? So that leads me to my next point, which is remember your audience. So the Harvard Business Review wrote a really great article called How to Tell a Story with Data. I highly recommend you check it out. And what they say is there's 5 categories of audience. So there's novice, there's generalist, there's expert, managerial, and executive. And so you want to think about those audiences even when you're thinking about who does my funder represent? Who does my constituent represent? And this is a really key and important step. We try to do that all the time with all of our projects here. We're doing user experience testing and alpha and beta testing. And so then once you have that, you can work backwards. So you don't necessarily want to always start with what data you have. You want to, like I said, start with the result and then go back and think about what data you might need to collect. And then think about what resources are required to collect that data. So is that reading reports? Is that looking for public data online? Is that reading case studies? Maybe conducting surveys or conducting interviews or doing observations, or you can also ask for reports, from your constituents. And the last 2 points are start small. I showed you some very kind of elaborate data visualizations. We've been doing that for a long time here, so we've had a lot to build on. But I know that perhaps not all the organizations have the same resources at their disposal. So really just getting your feet wet and maybe doing some static visualizations, some infographics. This goes a long way to boost your confidence, to make you, to keep the ball rolling and to allow you to do this more kind of in the future. And then finally, fine tune the story. So start to get feedback on what you're communicating. Is it resonating with people? Are people understanding? That's something that, as I said, we're trying to get better at doing as well. Sometimes you can put out something that you think is so brilliant that tells a complete story, and then people look at it and they don't understand kind of what's going on at all. So because the session is nearly over, I'm actually going to conclude. And for people who have any questions, I'm going to stand up here and I can answer questions one-on-one. So thank you so much, and good luck with all of your organizations and collecting data and telling stories.
Also, one quick thing is that in between these 2 sessions, we're going to have our final raffle of the day. This raffle is going to be for a copy of our guide to proposal writing, along with a free seat at our half-day workshop coming up on December 10th, which is Leading in a New Light, a personal and professional learning lab. And so that's one that's going to teach you how to use improvisation skills and design thinking to help you do your work better. And so I think we're just going to take care of this final raffle of the day. Does anyone in the audience want to be the one to reach in and pick? Anyone in? You want to do it? I can see it. Yeah. High in the sky.
All right.
What do you got?
All right, it's a post-it. Jenny Treyes, Rome, New York.
All right. Congratulations. We're just going to take a short break and we'll pick back up in about 10 to 15 minutes from now with an introduction to social entrepreneurship. Marco Salzar.